Okay, so welcome everybody to this week's call. My name is Jackie Boyle, and I have the pleasure of always hosting Dr. Joseph Ahrens Health Talk 365. Just for compliance, if please do not video this, we will provide the video for you. We're not aiming to heal, cure, or mitigate anything here. We're just clearly talking about today's topic is in the autistic spectrum and what is it. We've got one beautiful mum that has agreed to share her son's experience with these flavonoids, and Dr. Ahrens is going to then, we're going to share another mum's story as well that we have seen over the last 6 years. She was unable to join us, sadly, because her son's progress has been remarkable as well. But we really just want to highlight exactly what is the autistic spectrum, having a look at the few stats, but from Dr. Ahrens' point of view, he can open this conversation up, help us to understand it, and also help us to understand why the flavonoids have the ability to support and to help manage this condition so very well. So how are you, Dr. Ahrens?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. You can see behind me another beautiful day here. Somebody's got to live here, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. I'm really glad to be here.
Well, we're always glad to have you here, and I know it's always interesting after we've had these calls, and since we've taken this pathway of having Health Talks 365, it's certainly from all the feedback that we're getting back, and we love to hear what your thoughts are too, just quietly, for those that are on the call and for those that watch it afterwards. You know, if there's something in particular that you really want to have spoken about, please let us know, because these calls, after all, are for you. We want to try and help people understand certain things that our bodies deal with and how we may be able to manage them. So, Dr. Ahrens, when we talk about, being in the autistic spectrum, we did touch base on it prior to the recording that predominantly it is a male condition, that seem to be more males that are diagnosed with it than women. But I'll let you talk about it first before we bring on Karen.
Well, thanks very much. You know, we've been talking lately about the effects of flavonoids directly on your body. And I'm a physiologist, the chemistry of life, and I'm focused on things such as enzymes and flavonoids effects on the body. Particularly, it started out carbohydrate, sugar metabolism, and that just led us down a path to where we are today. I want to again caution people: we don't cure any diseases here, and we talk about flavonoids instead of one specific brand, because if we did start mentioning brands, then we're making claims to cure diseases, but we're not doing that. We're just discussing the relevant and recent scientific literature, things that have been proved with double-blind studies, some open studies. And that's what I want to talk about, because there's a lot of hope here, people. There's a lot of hope. All across these type of neurological issues, conditions, I don't even want to call them disorders very often. They're just a spectrum of issues, and there could be a number of things, for anything that's neurological. Parkinson's disease is actually a type of neurological issue, and schizophrenia, manic depressive disorder. And we're going to talk this evening today about autism. So I got some time earlier, I'll look back 7 years ago, people, as they took Imulin for they wouldn't maybe weight management or sugar metabolism to help support a healthy sugar levels. They kept telling me when they took this flavonoid compound that different things were happening. Psoriasis went away and arthritis got much less. And then they started saying, I have a husband there's no more depression. And I just filed these things away because I wasn't focused on that. I was talking about sugar metabolism, but we did find out, as many of you know now, that flavonoids in the body do definitely affect specific enzyme control systems in your body, just like sugar metabolism. They also directly impact inflammation, and they support your entire response to any stress. That's your immune system. And inflammatory system is part of the immune system. It's your response to what we call an insult. And an insult could be coming external, such as a bee sting or a cut. It also, importantly, can be internal. And that's a lot what we're talking about here today. We talked either last week or the week before about very new research that said that flavonoids do have those direct effects, but 90% of those effects, actually those flavonoids, any flavonoids in your diet, and I remind you that's coming from the really dark parts of fruits and vegetables. That's what flavonoid means. It means in Latin, colored body. They're coming from the dark parts, and those flavonoids, 90% of them are broken down for the food for your gut bacteria. And when your gut bacteria are happy, in light of any other term, they send happy signals to your brain. They send this highway, they send signals, chemical and nerve signals to your brain saying everything is okay. And when things are not okay, when they have improper food, as an example, or they're the wrong population, they send negative signals in that same highway. And your brain interprets that as stress. And from that, your body, your brain can react different ways. And if you are predisposed genetically to have any particular disorder, you sometimes flip the switch and you will express those symptoms. Now, so let's repeat that. Flavonoids, 10 to 20% of them directly impact the systems in your body, those metabolic systems. 80 to 90% of them, though, serve as the prebiotic food to the probiotic, the gut bacteria. Recent papers, I was just reading one this morning, have shown that, yes, in the case of like autism, flavonoids are doing that same thing. But in this case, that 10 or 20% is directly impacting biochemical pathways inside your brain, particularly inflammation. So we've talked about inflammation before. You know, you have an insult, a damage, a poison, a virus, bacteria, any number of things, emotional stress. And your brain, just like any other part of your body, starts to react to that. And the first thing it does is inflammation. And that king guy that we talk about a lot, TNF alpha, starts a cascade. And now it has been determined that in those people that have often normally expressed autism, they send out a signal in that cascade, an inflammatory chemical that triggers autistic symptoms. That's pretty interesting. We talked last week about some general concept that you trigger inflammatory pathways, but we have identified it. It's interleukin 6 for people that care about that. And if you're in that category, if you're on that spectrum, that chemical is expressed, and the chemicals expressed, and then the symptoms are expressed. So and then that's just 10 to 20%. Those other 80% still go on to support your gut bacteria, which in turn sends positive signals to the brain. So it kind of puts like a brake on it. Well, that sounds all nice, real scientifically, and it's always essential to have scientific proof. What I just quoted you was a study of 37 children. And I'm very glad to say that there's a new study coming out very soon, just registered with the US government, clinicaltrial.gov. And there's going to be 50 children in that one. And those flavonoids they are going to use in this study are very similar, if not almost exact, the ones that many people take that are listening to me now. So I'm really forward to that. So, you know, I had a lady, Eileen, come to me. She was one of those people that said, you know, I took this product for weight management, and she's a nurse, and also for sugar metabolism, to keep a nice level and to kind of control inflammation. And I gave it to my kids, and I have a boy who has autism. And it took a while, but I realized he was not unruly. And the second thing is he didn't have any. Usually he had focus. He usually didn't have focus, and she wasn't sure. Well, people might remember a couple of years ago, we ran out of these products. We completely ran out, and she was unable to get a hold of it. And her son went right back, Trainer is his name, went right back into expression of autism. She was so happy when she got products back that she took videos and passed these videos around and said, look, there's a video of just a normal kid here. And so what does that mean? Well, there is a test, a type of test developed, I think out of Vancouver, that said, okay, we're talking about eye contact, avoiding eye contact, not being mute, not communicative, fidgety, cannot focus, and can't even stay in a conversation, and alternately talks of different subjects. There's just no focus there. And with flavonoids, got to focus, good eye contact, talks coherently, and is engaging. That's really an amazing story. So we've got technical backup here, and you asked me about the male and female thing. Well, it has to do with that chemical fingerprint, and there's a different chemical fingerprint for males versus females. On top of that, you have testosterone, and that is known to trigger a lot of type of anxiety-related disorders. And in the wild, that's really great. You can go out and kill a lion or whatever, but in civilized society, we don't do that. And so still we have the biochemistry that we've had for thousands of years. And when that balance is messed up and the testosterone's off, and it kind of, I would say the testosterone kind of heats up the pot, so to speak. That's really, it also in turn, puts out epinephrine, causes epinephrine, et cetera. So you sometimes can become very aggressive and irritable, and I don't want to do that. And so you say, focus, and then there's just nothing but arguments. So it's a mess. But that's really why you have males over females. Testosterone really raises the temperature on this chemical cocktail. So I've talked about the biochemical underpinnings now, and I've talked about, we've got these great clinical studies. And listen, you don't have to just take my word for it. First of all, by now, Jackie, it was the week that you were out. Those papers do appear. I put them right up on the screen, so they're there. I don't remember which one, but if you'll remember, it was one that you were had a conflict, and those papers are there talking about the gut-brain axis and the effect at 10% and 90%. And now we're seeing it in specifically autism. So you can look that up. Just why don't you type in, don't even have to go to PubMed. You can just put in autism and flavonoids, and those papers pop right up. Those clinical trials pop right up. Well, and also then I talked about my friend Eileen and her remarkable story. She loves to tell that to everyone. But we got a real live person here that can talk to us about her experience. So let's hear that.
So, Dr. Ahrens, before we bring Karen on, I just want to just give people a bigger picture on where Eileen and Trainer is concerned, because you can actually search into Dr. Ahrens' YouTube channel, and there is a recording in there, which I will say is not compliant now with the changes with FDA. But for your own use, please watch it, because it will move you in so many ways and make you understand exactly how far Trainer has progressed. And Eileen actually remarried about 18 months ago, and she invited me on her virtual wedding from Australia, which was amazing. And the thing that made me the happiest was seeing Trainer used to be living in a separate home from his mum and his sister because of not being able to manage his autism. And then he started with these flavonoids, and that all changed for him. He was able to go to his first athletics meeting, and he was never able to do that before. But the most exciting thing for her and her family was that when she remarried, he was able to walk his mum down the aisle, and it just made you cry, seeing how far he had come along with the support of where he was at. So it is worthwhile looking into Dr. Ahrens' YouTube and look up Eileen Durham. and you'll be able to listen to her story. So, you know, we do have another beautiful lady on here, and I had the pleasure to be able to get to know Karen Small as a really great friend, and she has been willing to share her son's story. So, Karen, are you able to unmute yourself, please?
Hi, Jackie.
I want to thank you so much. And please understand, everybody, as you are very aware of this, that when we start sharing something of our own personal life, it can be a little bit unsettling. So I want to thank you so much, first of all, Karen, for being willing to share and open up the light for all of us to see what your story is, and that we will be able to share this ourselves for others that may be in the same situation. So I'll let you take the chair and share what has happened for you as a mum and with your son as to what you've noticed with these flavonoids.
So we ended up Jonathan was 2 years old when we got him out of foster care. And when we got him, we were intentionally getting a general, what they would call a general child, not a special needs child. And we ended up getting him, found out that he had fetal alcohol. I had to go back and look this up because he's changed so much that I had to go back and look at it and go, what exactly did he have? Because there was a lot of work went into helping a special needs child, and he's come such a long way, and I'm very proud of him. But he had fetal alcohol and spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. He had microcephaly, and he has intellectual disabilities all over the place. But we managed to work on that physical part of him. I mean, he was in Special Olympics and track. I mean, who would have thought? He said he'd never graduated from high school. He graduated. He went on to do an age 21 schools. We call it his college. He played on the Olympic Special Olympics basketball team, and like I said, track and swimming. And he just started teaching himself. And it's funny because when you first have a special needs child and you do things that are very, you do things that help him to learn. Sometimes you're looked at by the general public as being mean. But I had to be strict with Jonathan because he did not even want to walk when we first got him, or even feed himself when we first got him. And I had a person that I met who had tried to take her own, this is gonna sound terrible, but she tried to take her own life with a weapon, and she was supposed to live, and her brain was small, but that whatever it was, the things in her brain just started coming back together, and she was able to do things. And I thought, wait a minute, maybe Jonathan's brains will be able to work together, and things might be able to connect. Some things did and some things didn't. But I mean, he now fixes his own food now. The only thing that we had to deal with was at his attitude. He would get very angry, very a short attention span. He wanted things his way, and he definitely was going through those testosterone levels were going up, and he'd see the pretty girls at high school, and I was always getting called to come pick him up because, you know, he'd run out of classroom, go find some girl in some classroom that was in the general public, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So it was all of that thing. And I wish that I had the flavonoids or knew about it in order to help him during that time. So anyway, my daughter and I are taking the flavonoids, and I remember hearing that story that you just told, Dr. Ahrens, and I thought, you know what, let me try Jonathan on it. So I started putting him on 2. First, he didn't want to swallow pills. They were like, I don't want to swallow. I said, well, you can take it apart. We could put it in something. It's like, nah, Mom, I don't want to do that. You know, he wanted to be a big boy, and he's 23 now, 22, 23, 22. And he said, so he started taking 2 of them, and then we cut it back down to 1, because he was like, well, can I take this as many as you guys are taking? But we were taking a bunch of other things and not just that. So he took his flavonoid, and I didn't really pay attention to it. And then I was like, he's not getting as angry as he usually is when he doesn't get his way, or when something doesn't work out, or when he's mad. And I don't hear him talking about, when he comes from work, I don't hear him talk about my body hurts or anything like that. So I said, maybe this is what's been working with him. Now he just gets it his own self. He's like, Mom, I took my flavonoid, and he goes and gets his bottle and takes his thing. And I put him down to 1 because I think I'm going to give him the other flavonoid later on. But he goes in and he takes it, but he's so calm. I can have a conversation with him, or he'll think if he does something that he's not supposed to, he'll go upstairs and think about it. And then he'll come back and he'll go, you know, Mom, that was wrong of me to do that or to say that. And so I'm sorry about that. And I'm going to do better. And he remembers to do all his chores that he's supposed to do, or he takes initiative to wash his own clothes or to clean his own bathroom. So I am grateful for that, because he seems to be more at peace for having participated and taken his flavonoids, every day. And so that's one thing that I do not want to run out with him. And I just think it's just remarkable. And I'm so proud of him, because he's come such a long way. And even today he goes, Mom, because he had to go out and work in the yard. And I was mowing the grass, and he had to go out there and pull some weeds and stuff. And he hadn't done one part. And then when I reminded him he had to do it, he goes, you know what? I had a good attitude out there today, didn't I? I was like, yeah, you sure did, son. And I'm very proud of you. So I am happy for that, because he is nowhere compared to what the doctors had said he was going to be like. Now that we had done with the physical stuff, now the mental stuff that is working with him, there's no way I would not have him continue on in that flavonoid area. So I appreciate it. It's really been fabulous.
Karen, I've got to say, I know that there's many people on here that are sitting there with smiles on their faces. Some of them, I'm sure that their hearts have welled up. I know that we see each other a lot on this social media, and I see Jonathan walk past, and it's quite interesting, even over the 12 months, just watching even his presence in the room. Like, it's a lot calmer presence when he's coming into the room, whereas, that's what I did note from the outside looking in. He is a lot more agitated on a regular basis, whereas it's this calm, gentle giant that seems to be walking through into the room behind you to see what's happening and what's Mum up to. And I want to, before I hand this over to Dr. Ahrens, goosebumps, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and everybody else, for sharing and letting us into your personal life, and with Jonathan's life as well, because what you've shared with us gives us hope to be able to take that out and share it with other people. So thank you so much as a mum and as a friend to all of us. And Dr. Ahrens, I want to hand this over to you so that you can make a comment.
Well, Karen, I really want to thank you. Thank you very much. This type of sharing is what this site is about, and exchanging information like that. We're not trying to sell you a bunch of stuff. My mission in life really is, I know some stuff may not have come from me, but I know some things. I want to spread that to everybody so that they can have a better life. And it gets back to, our diets are a mess. We live in a society that is under a lot of pressure. And things that have happened now didn't happen decades ago. We ate better, we exercised more, and because we are in an era of poorer diets, we do need to supplement ourselves with these things now that we are understanding scientifically need to be in our diet. These are not things that are strange non-food items. It's just that, no, it's just like vitamins. You might have a vitamin deficiency. You need to go increase that type of vitamin. I myself take B and D. That's how my body is. I'm low on D, even though I live in the tropics, and I take them. Got a blood test? You're low on D? I take them. So that's just about improving my diet. And likewise, people should find out by taking these flavonoids, because I think everybody, unless you're supplementing with flavonoids, you have flavonoid deficiency syndrome. That's a good term. It means like these need to be in your diet, and until you do, you're going to have issues. And if you do have an issue, I don't care what it is. It could be a neurological issue. It could be autism, Parkinson's. We're not saying all that's going to go away. We're saying your body will be supported by the things it needs to produce the best health it can. So again, I really thank you very much for this testimony.
Has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask on this particular topic while we're here? And because, Lorena, please unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to ask Karen how long it took before you noticed a change in your son.
took about a month before I noticed. Now, it could have happened sooner, but I think something happened and I was like, wait, he didn't react the same way. So it took me about a month before I noticed he's different. And everybody in our family knows, wait, he's different. So yeah.
And I think it's quite incredible. So Karen, again, I really do want to thank you. And if you have any other questions as we go forward with this, please share this, because it is something that we can help many others to create awareness. As Dr. Ahrens said, we're not here to sell something. We're actually here to actually create a platform of education and knowledge. And there may be people out there that weren't even aware that there are such things that exist. So this is what the whole platform is about. It's about education and knowledge. And we're very lucky to have you, Dr. Ahrens, here on a weekly basis to do that. Next week, I do want to let you know, please start using that little email. I'll put a note in Dr. Ahrens' Facebook page, but it's Q&A week. So questions. So if you've got questions that you would like to have answered by Dr. Ahrens, please send them in so that we can get them organised to have them asked next week, because it is your chance to have any queries or thoughts. And it doesn't matter, you may think it's a silly question. Well, that silly question may be one that everybody's been thinking about and has not been game to ask. So no question is silly. So please put them out there, because again, we're recording this and we share it. So it's an education platform for everybody to be able to take advantage of. So Dr. Ahrens, is there anything that you'd like to finish up on before we finish today's call?
Well, we talk about autism, we talk about blood sugar, we've talked about inflammation, arthritis. Let's just remember what I say all the time. Flavonoids, everybody should take flavonoids. Cradle to grave, everyone does need flavonoids.
That's excellent, Dr. Ahrens. And I'm just putting into the chat for you the email address to send it through. So info@drjosephahrens.com. And if you can't find, just send it through to myself personally if you need to. And I want to thank you again, Karen, for sharing Jonathan's story, and even more so from a mum's perspective. Thank you so much for sharing from a mother's perspective, because it really is, I'm sure you've been on a roller coaster. So to be sitting in the space that you're in now, you must be feeling, well, I know you are from talking to you, that you're feeling so much more at peace and a lot happier with what you're seeing with Jonathan. So on behalf of Dr. Ahrens and myself and all of you beautiful people that are out there, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week. So thank you so much.